Hi Champa, so we've got more essays from you. Happy to see them. Let's get straight into your essays and see what you had to say. Okay, this one's a tricky one actually because of the way the question is phrased. All right, fashion, positive or negative development, and to what extent do you support it? So it may kind of appear that this is a little repetitive, which is why it's kind of dangerous. So, in other words, if you say that it's a positive development, you have to make sure that when you answer the second question, to what extent do you support this, that you don't repeat yourself, which is why these kinds of questions are usually kind of problematic. Let's see what you did though. Of late, consumer choices regarding wardrobes and haircuts are being strongly affected by changing trends in the fashion industry. You can't use although like this. Although needs to have a clause, which means it needs a minimum of a subject and a verb. So instead, if you want to use a word like this, you should use however. So, however, this development, no, you can't use that either. So instead, let's do this. So, although, that's what the problem is. You didn't need a comma. So what you need to do instead is, although this development has some upsides, comma, all right, you never put a comma right after although. So your use of the word was fine after I read the rest of the sentence, but your punctuation is problematic. So remove the comma right after although, never comma right after although, and just use it at the comma at the end of the clause. So, although this development has some upsides, comma, as you have here, in my opinion, it has led to more drawbacks. This essay will argue both sides using real-life examples to demonstrate points and arguments. Fine. Okay. Now, again, I can see here, just looking at this, careful. Remember, your goal is to answer these two questions. The idea is typically to spend a paragraph on each, but let's see what you did. With burgeoning brand outlets and salons, people have the opportunity to be well presented for every occasion. To begin with, working professionals will most likely keep their wardrobes and haircuts up to date with the latest apparel due to peer pressure and corporate world demands. For example, a job seeker who is well dressed and groomed for the interview has better chances of securing the opportunity compared to someone who has a shabby appearance. Therefore, it is more of a necessity these days to be in vogue. Moreover, fashion choices are defined by season. For instance, a person wearing a sweater in the scorching summer will be ridiculed and considered weird in the social circle. Furthermore, most men prefer to go for crew cuts or a bald look you should have had there during summer, as they cannot bear the heat and sweat. This aspect has more to do with hygiene. Okay, so what's the main idea here? What are you trying to tell me? I'm not really sure. Like, how does this... Are you explaining why people are influenced by fashion? I'm not really sure what the point is. You said that you were going to talk about the upsides and the downsides, but I'm not really sure what you're trying to do here. It sounds to me like you're simply stating reasons why people are concerned with their appearance, but I'm not so sure what it has to do with the actual question. Okay, let's move on. On the other hand, youngsters are easily influenced by dressing styles and funky haircuts of celebrities. For example, after watching a famous movie star or singer in his or her latest release, teenagers demand the same clothes or haircut from the parents. Now, you can't use many a time like this. It has to be singular. Many a time or many times. All right, you just have to pick one. These styles are provocative and may convey, you're missing an N, the wrong message. For example, youngsters may get stalked by strangers with wrong intentions. Okay, hence parents need to be careful when giving in to such demands. In addition to this, it is not advisable for children to invest their valuable time in fashion trends at such a young age. For example, a new Justin Bieber album is released during the final exams, and the child may demand the same jacket he has worn in a particular song of the album. This will distract the child from his regular study plan and result in poor performance. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that children may try to portray the lifestyles of these role models, hence deviating from their studies. Okay, all right. So from the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that although consumer choices are affected by fashion to some extent due to seasonal and work demands, undue wishes of young adults can be curtailed for the sake of their school life and safety in general. All right, so check it out, Champa. The grammar and the vocabulary is all really accurate. You could see I didn't really have a lot to correct, and it read very, very nicely, very easily, and it flowed. I didn't get stuck in many places. I still have a big question mark in my head as to how closely you've really answered this question. Now, one thing I would really like to see from you, and this would absolutely have an impact on your coherence and cohesion score, is a clearer topic sentence, okay? Remember that a topic sentence is generally your introduction to the paragraph. It's like a mini intro. So just tell the reader what the central idea of the paragraph is and what you're going to be talking about in that paragraph. So here it would be something like, let me think how I would phrase this based on what you wrote. There are many reasons why people choose to and should choose to follow fashion. Okay, so that's essentially what this paragraph was about. So you need something like that. And also, I didn't really see, I don't really feel like you're following the acronym very closely. So you don't have a clear topic sentence, and you also don't have like a rounding off sentence at the end. So that is kind of problematic. And again, now what I suggested was, spending a paragraph on each of these. That's one way to do it, and it's a clear way to do it. Although I realize that the way this topic is phrased makes it difficult to do that. So my next question is really regarding your topic development. Another thing that I want to mention is, remember what the first thing said here is, people are influenced by fashion. So when you were talking about all of these things in this paragraph, you weren't really talking about fashion at all. I mean, okay, maybe here, but then when you were talking about being well dressed and groomed for an interview, I didn't really feel like you were talking about fashion at all. I don't know if you know what I mean. And then even this seasonal thing, it's also not talking about fashion. I mean, this is really an issue of practicality. It doesn't make sense to wear a heavy wool sweater in the summer. So I'm not really sure how much you were really talking about fashion, or rather just conventions of life. I mean, there is a difference there, okay? Obviously, you're not going to go to an interview wearing like a ripped t-shirt and ripped jeans. But that has less to do with fashion, because in fact, in some circles that is fashionable. Instead, in an interview, you're going to wear something probably more conservative and not so much follow fashion. So I'm not really sure how the way you develop this really is appropriate. Okay, so reading it again one more time, I do feel like within your paragraphs you have answered this, to what extent you support it. You do say where you do support it, where you don't support it. But I don't get a sense of whether you feel it is positive or negative overall. Okay, so just a few things to think about. Because your grammar and your vocabulary is really, really good, I think that the areas that you need to work on are your task response and your coherence and cohesion, which is why I'm spending so much time with this essay today. Let's take a look at your next one. Okay, let's see. Letter. Terrible restaurant. Okay. Dear sir, my name is Beth Porter, and I have been a regular customer of Zuma for the last 8 years. Okay? Otherwise, you would need to say when. 8 years ago was in 2010, so you would say since 2010. Okay? So whether you use for or since, it determines what follows. I visited your outlet last Wednesday with a few friends for an Asian-themed buffet night. I'm writing to express my dissatisfaction with the service I experienced during this time. We arrived at 8 p.m. sharp, so you need to reverse these, as I had made an advanced, I made a reservation, that's all. All right, so you can get rid of this. However, just add the I was disappointed when the hostess informed me that due to overbooking, our table was reallocated in the outside smoking area. My friends were extremely uncomfortable with this arrangement as they cannot bear humid weather. Moreover, the hostess did not provide a cooler near the table, which made the situation worse. Finally, we left without dining and instead went to a Subway nearby. What do you mean a cooler? I'm not really sure what you mean by that. In future, I would recommend that prior information be provided regarding any changes in the reservation so the customer can decide to cancel it or request alternative arrangements. Moreover, I had paid for the online reservation via my credit card and therefore suggested I be given a full refund. I await your prompt response in this matter. Yours faithfully, Beth Porter. All right. Fine. You did everything. Yes, you did everything. So it's fine. Just a couple of those little weird things with like here and here, that's all. But on the whole, it was a nice letter. It was appropriate in terms of its tone. I do feel like maybe, oh, that's what it was. There was someplace where you used moreover twice. Yeah, moreover here and then moreover here again. I think you could have used a different linking word, like maybe like a furthermore would have been nice rather than using the same one twice. All right, so other than that, very nice job here. Champa, I'm really happy with both of these essays, although I already explained to you about your task 2, what you need to work on, which is task response and the coherence and cohesion, meaning that you're missing a clear topic sentence and a kind of summary statement of the paragraph. So those are the things I really want you to work on when you revise these essays. I'm waiting for you to send them back. I'm waiting for you to add to your error correction list. And, of course, waiting for your next essays. So good luck with all of that, and I'll be here waiting to see what you write next.